When I think of music in the digital age, I often begin not with streaming or downloads, but with a small silver disc that promised eternity. The compact disc arrived in the early 1980s, carrying the slogan, "Perfect Sound Forever." It was marketed as the format that would never scratch, never wear out, and never fade. The CD was sleek, futuristic, and filled with promises. For an entire generation, it was not just a way to listen to music, but a symbol of progress, technology, and modern life. This is the story of how the compact disc reshaped listening, dominated global culture, and paved the way for the digital future. The idea for the CD began in the 1970s, when engineers at Philips in the Netherlands and Sony in Japan began experimenting with optical discs. They wanted a medium that could store sound using digital data rather than analog grooves or magnetic tape. The technology relied on lasers reading microscopic pits on the disc's surface, translating them into ones and zeros, and then into music. By 1979, Philips and Sony joined forces, agreeing on a 12-centimeter disc that could hold 74 minutes of music, enough to fit Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The first commercial CD players arrived in Japan in 1982, followed by the United States and Europe a year later. They were expensive, often costing more than a month's salary. But the sound was astonishingly clean. No hiss, no crackle, no wear from repeated plays. For audiophiles, it felt like magic. For the industry, it was a revolution. Record companies quickly embraced CDs. They were cheaper to mass-produce than vinyl, more profitable, and harder to copy than cassettes. In the mid-1980s, record labels reissued entire catalogues of classic albums on CD, encouraging fans to repurchase music they already owned. Consumers lined up, thrilled by the chance to hear their favourite artists with crystal clarity. By the late 1980s, CD sales had overtaken vinyl and cassettes, transforming the industry's economics. The CD also changed the look and feel of music. Album covers shrank to jewel case size, and liner notes were printed in tiny booklets. Collectors appreciated the compactness, though some lamented the loss of vinyl's large artwork. Still, the aesthetic of the CD, the shimmering disc, the clear plastic case, became iconic. Rows of jewel cases filled shelves in living rooms and bedrooms, evidence of personal taste and status. Artists adapted as well. Some began designing albums with the CD's digital clarity in mind, layering sounds that analog formats could not capture as well. The length of albums expanded too. With 74 minutes available, artists could fit more songs, and double albums became easier to manage. Entire genres, from classical to electronic, flourished under the CD's promise of fidelity. The impact was global. By the 1990s, CDs were the dominant format in nearly every market. Boomboxes, car stereos, and portable Discman players made CDs part of daily life. The shiny disc became a symbol of modernity, carried in backpacks, stacked in cars, and displayed proudly in homes. For teenagers, trading CDs and burning custom mixes became rituals of friendship and identity. But the CD also reflected contradictions. Despite promises of durability, discs scratched easily and cases cracked. Labels overcharged consumers, with CDs often costing more than vinyl or tapes. Lawsuits and criticism followed, but the demand remained high. At its peak in the late 1990s, the CD accounted for more than 90% of global music sales. Culturally, the CD symbolized the 1990s. From the rise of boy bands to the explosion of grunge, from hip-hop's dominance to global pop, Every soundtrack of the decade spun on compact discs. Owning a CD collection was a rite of passage, proof of taste and belonging. Music stores flourished, with walls of discs inviting hours of browsing. Yet technology never stops. By the late 1990s, CDs faced their own disruptor, the MP3. Digital compression allowed songs to be shared online, first through Napster and then countless other platforms. Suddenly, the permanence of the CD seemed less important than the flexibility of digital files. Consumers began ripping CDs to computers, creating vast libraries of MP3s. The very digital foundation of the CD opened the door to its own decline. In the 2000s, iPods and downloads replaced Discman players. Streaming soon followed. CD sales plummeted and music stores closed. The perfect sound forever had met the impermanence of the internet. By the 2000s, the CD was no longer the dominant medium, yet its legacy endured, both as nostalgia and as a stepping stone toward the digital era. Today, CDs survive in niche markets. Collectors prize rare editions. Independent artists still release them as physical mementos. Some audiophiles argue that CDs offer better sound than compressed streaming. And for many, the ritual of opening a jewel case, reading liner notes, and placing a disc in a player remains a powerful connection to music. Looking back, the CD was more than a technology. It was a cultural event. It changed how albums were made, how artists were marketed, how fans experienced music. It symbolized the optimism of the 1980s and 1990s, when technology seemed capable of perfection. And even though forever did not last, the compact disc paved the way for everything that followed. When I think of the CD, I think of more than plastic and laser light. I think of shelves lined with jewel cases, of car rides with stacks of discs, of teenagers trading burned mixes, of families replacing vinyl with shimmering silver. The compact disc was not just a format, it was a revolution in sound, and its echoes remain in every digital playlist today.